Hi, I'm here with Abigail Clift, and I'm really excited. She's a leading student at Sherman Chiropractic College. We're getting ready for an event that the students there have looked to put on. It's the Christ-Centered Office, which is an amazing topic, considering that we are the Christ-Centered Chiropractic Group. Abigail, welcome on.
Thank you very much.
So what's interesting about the questions I came up with to ask you, some of this is just out of my own curiosity. I told you before we started, I don't want to lose touch with what students want and kind of what their outlook is at chiropractic colleges. I certainly was excited that you contacted us and said, hey, we want to bring in a Christ-centered chiropractic training. Also, I guess we have to say this before we get started. So your dad, Dr. Jason Clift, is one of the premier chiropractic adjusters in all of maybe chiropractic history. So you come from good roots. Of course, he'll be there and he's going to teach. So when Dr. Jason is at a seminar, you always know it because the chiropractors line up to have Dr. Jason treat them, to adjust them. And so that's how you know you're a great chiropractor. When the chiropractors are lining up to see you, that means you know what you're doing. So here's the first question I have for you, Abigail. Students today, what is the outlook of the future of chiropractic? We know, those of us who have been here a while, we know what we think about the future. What are students on campuses thinking about the future of this profession?
Well, I guess first, not the Christian perspective, but just in general, hoping that in the future, chiropractic there'll be less tension within the practice and more like working together and actually making more strides to get more influence in the community, but definitely the hope that we'll work more together rather than against each other.
That's really
all
good.
The different techniques.
I really like that. I actually was interviewed yesterday for another podcast, and they said, if I can go back to school and get started all over again, what would I change? And I said, less hate, because we were taught, we literally were taught by our professors who to hate within our own profession. So just, what you're looking to do is, as the next group of students come out, if you're looking to create peace and unity within the profession, you're on the right track. That's something we've needed for about 100 years. And so we're thankful for that. So kind of the next thing, obviously, just when you look at what you wanted to have happen, which is you and your team. I got to get on with, your team there, your Christ-centered chiropractic student team. And you wanted to bring a seminar of this nature to your school. You were all very excited about it. So why is this so important to you? Why is Christ-centered practice this important to you to be wanting to put on this event there at Sherman?
For one, there's so much. It's obviously in the culture, there's more of a push towards spirituality and not the Christian type of spirituality. Not having a clear definition of what it is to be a Christian. And so many people claiming Christianity, but then not actually living it out or having a different version of what they think Christianity is. It just seems to be very confusing for students who are curious about Christ, that they're getting very mixed messages. And there's just that mix between people who claim to be Christian, but then are engaging in all these other things that are tapping into the different side of the spiritual realm. And yeah, we're just excited to bring clarity in that to the school and to bring a bold voice for what the Bible actually says and what it actually looks like to live out your faith, especially through the practice.
Good. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Good thing one of your own professors, thanks to you, is one of the speakers when we're there on August 3rd on that Saturday to do the event, Dr. Bill Deccan. And just, when I asked him if he was good with coming to speak, and he said, as long as we're talking about Jesus, chiropractic, and bicycles, then I'm fine. So I said, all three are on the table in whatever order you want to place them in. So he's excited to come speak for us. So you do have a great anchor in Dr. Deccan there on campus. And, that's what the seminar is about. Really, everything you were talking about there is to figure out, obviously, you're seeing the world in your practice, which, every denomination, every religion, every type of person, but yet you said it best, which is you still want to express your own Christianity. You want to be who you are and attract people in that way. And so, we're going to walk you through how you can be a full-on Christian in your practice, represent God, glorify Christ in all that you do, but yet see the masses. Because the speakers, Dr. Schiffman, Dr. Omid, myself, these are speakers who have built the biggest practices in chiropractic history. All of us have. So obviously, being all about Christ, glorifying him, lifting him up in your practice clearly doesn't hinder your success. Obviously, it propels it forward. It makes it exponentially that much greater. And so we'll share all of those steps when we're there. So kind of last question here. So what are your goals for practice when you think of, and again, this is as much I want to learn this myself. I'm looking forward to hearing your answer, and obviously that of some of your peers. Like, what are the common goals? So you're graduated. You've been to the seminar that we've had to learn more about being a Christ-centered clinic. Once you're in practice, what are all of you looking to achieve once you're actually finally out there in the world seeing patients in a clinic?
I think in general, many are wanting to just take care of people as best they can. And which was interesting when I was talking to my dad a little while ago, he was thinking that there was more of like a upper cervical mindset at Sherman. And there is still that there, but many that I've talked to, and even my class, are more not necessarily drawn to a specific technique, but the main goal is to just take care of people the best they can, whether that's with one technique, whether that's with multiple techniques. They just want to be able to help people. And so in general, I think that's a main goal of students and myself, but also being able to partner with other parts of the healthcare field, not just chiropractors, but being able to even just like co-manage cases, patients' health with others to really take the best care of people as possible. So in that vein, but then also just being like also in the community, an area where people know that they can come to the office, to your office, to be educated about their health, that they know that there'll be information, that there'll be guidance there that will just help them to find answers, and just more of a holistic approach to health rather than the typical like medical model. But yeah, and then also just, general in business, a way to provide for the family and have resources to be able to do the other things that like God has convicted like us to do, or to minister in the community.
That's amazing. So go out there and take a lead in becoming part of a community, generate a sisterhood and a brotherhood within chiropractic to serve God and change the world. Is that kind of right? That's the goal.
Absolutely.
That's really awesome. Because that, like you said, unfortunately for a century or more, there's been more of an exclusivity that we don't work necessarily well with others in our community. We aren't participating in healthcare. We're not working together. I had people teaching me in chiropractic college that if you adjusted below C3, you were a mixer, and that if you adjusted somebody and they weren't gowned, you were a bad person, not just a bad chiropractor. So we have a long way to go to get to where you're talking about, but clearly students like you are the future. Last thing I'll say too, and this just as a point of encouragement to you, to the other members of your team that are bringing us there for this August 3rd event, the Christ-centered practice that we're having there at Sherman, is what I've seen now, having worked with students. I've worked with thousands of students over more years than I want to admit to a young person like you right now. And what I found is this one absolute truth, that students like you that begin to lead other students and create events like this always go out to be the most successful chiropractors. So I really appreciate your leadership and all you're doing to generate this event. But I just want to encourage you that by continuing to lead already while in school and to impact lives in that scale while you haven't even graduated yet, that will actually reap huge rewards once you're out. So you're on the right track. You're going to do great. You're going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody who's watching, students, doctors. We're already getting a great sign up for this event. So we'll see you all at Sherman, one of the premier, maybe the best chiropractic school out there right now in the world today. We'll see you there Saturday, August 3rd, 9 to 5. Don't miss it. Learn how to be a Christ-centered chiropractic clinic. Bless you all, and remember who you are.